Oh, perfect.
So, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's Industry Pulse event, which is entitled Gen AI, Use Cases, Governance, and Best Practice in Johnson and Johson's MedTech. My name is John Storm, and I'm the Director of MBA Programs at the University of Aberdeen Business School, and I will be your facilitator today as we listen to and learn from the thoughts and experiences of our valued speaker, Jerry Jai. Now, Jerry brings more than 15 years of experience in digital transformations and IT innovation across the China and wider Asia Pacific region. At the end of 2023, Jerry took a leading position to spearhead innovation in J&J MedTech for driving their business unit for information technology. This has involved a considerable level of attention towards development and employment of technologies utilizing Gen AI. Now, our audience today will have a range of experiences and exposures with Gen AI. Some may have been avid users, whereas others maybe see AI as something which is in the headlines, but we've maybe never personally experimented with. Regardless of our previous exposure to Gen AI, we aim to make this discussion accessible and stimulating for everyone who's here. Now, to help us achieve this, our schedule today has two components. First, Jerry will provide a presentation of around about 30 to 35 minutes to example some concepts, use cases, and provide some guidance for AI initiatives within the context of a multinational enterprise. Following this, we'll have an opportunity for some Q&A. Now, I'll invite all members of the audience to join us by posting comments or questions into the chat box. And then as we reach the Q&A session, I will be posing some of these questions to Jerry. However, please note that we may not be able to address all questions today. Now, without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Jerry. So Jerry, thank you for joining us today. Welcome to the platform.
Thanks, John, for this kind introduction. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everybody online. Let me quickly introduce myself. My name is Jerry Jai, and I, like John has described, I've been working in the IT industry for the last 15 years, and I'm currently holding the position of the product owner of Microsoft Dynamics 365 platform. Of Johnson and Johnson MedTech, a life science and pharmaceutical company. And I'm also serving as business partner and innovation champion. So I'm trying today to introduce the concept of generation AI and the difference between the generation AI and other format of IT product, and give you a guideline of understanding, a general understanding of this, how this will work in the industry level, to everybody online, and try to answer some questions today. So personally, I'm a tech-driven person, and also I'm a ChatGPT subscriber. I've been subscribing ChatGPT for 2 years, and I've been using that a lot. And well, recently we know that there's a new model of large language model generation AI being released, and it's been the trending topic of DeepSeek R1. And this one, I've been trying that locally, deploy that into one of my computers, so I can also describe this experience and answer some questions related to this new open source large language model. So then let's begin today's topic. We have actually 4 parts of the presentation today. So we are going to quickly review the use case of the generation AI in life science business. I'm going to describe some cases there, and well, we are going to talk about the governance model. I know a lot of you may come from large corporation, international corporations, and in your corporation there may be some governance model, there may not they maybe not. But I'm going to share some best practice we govern our generation AI, because there's some risk regulation involved into usage of generation AI. And I'm going to describe the best practice of us building some product around generation AI and try to benefit our business. And that same model you can apply to your business if you are talking to your IT department. And then in the last, I'm going to outlook the future of generation AI, including if we are going to forecast DeepSeek changing the industry, changing everything. I think I will be addressing that in the end, and I'm welcoming all the questions regarding that. I'm trying to answer with my knowledge. So let's start. And the first topic is about the life science industry use case. I want to describe three use cases. The first one is related to a specific use scenario in our industry. So in life science industry in China, we have a large group of healthcare professionals. We call it HCPs, and this kind of healthcare professionals are our client, and we usually our sales reps will get in touch with them individual basis, but we have a large group of employees around the country, and they are submitting different new customer information every day, and those information need to be carefully verified. So, a life science company will usually employ a third-party vendor to do this. They will get the name, sex, hospital, job title, etc., right before after the sales rep ask if the information for changing or submit new informations. The reason of doing that is that a lot of engagement we have to do with our customers need to be regulated. We need to only talk to physicians, the people who can do actual operations to customer, not individual persons everywhere. So the information need to be verified. So we have a third party company to verify those information for the entire industry, engage with multiple life science companies. This company will have 100 employee team to deal with this kind of requests. They will use public information online or public sources or their let's say habit sources or some special sources to verify those information. If necessary, they have to call the hospital to ensure whether there's a customer or a doctor in that hospital to make sure everything is correct. So third party verification is very important to our industry's customer engagement. So it takes like 1 day, not work hours, but usually 1 day to get those information collected and verified. But after introducing the large language model with search engine and with training data and the trained behavior, the generation AI will take average 6 seconds to get everything collected. Of course, the collected thing need to be verified with personal human labor again, but the accuracy they detected of the large language model, the generation AI, is similar to the manual people searching and verifying from different sources. So you can see this is a power tool on the productivity. It can reduce a lot of labor cost and also the duration of working on this kind of scenario. So that's a very useful case. And the next one we are talking about is the implementation of ChatGPT in Johnson and Johnson. So Johnson and Johnson and Microsoft are strategic partners. So I think starting from the year everybody know ChatGPT, we already started to engage with Microsoft, who is a shareholder of OpenAI, and get this solution implemented within the Johnson & Johnson company private cloud. So this is the technology is based on Microsoft Azure, but it is the it is the latest version of ChatGPT 4.0 and 4.0 Mini already been implemented there and open with Johnson and Johnson customers, and including specific knowledge of J&J RAG, the retrieval argument generation. You can consider that as a search engine specially for this ChatGPT, so they can look into look into that database to understand some special wording and special knowledge about J&J to better answer the questions. It is authorized with J&J account only, and it is an internal charging model because from global perspective, different countries will use that differently, but the costs need to be delivered to Microsoft, and it has to be internal charged with different legal entities. So this one is open and already available. If you search genai.jnj.com, you actually can see this site. It's public available, but you need to have a J&J authorization to get it in. So next, we also have some experience with another famous Microsoft generation AI tool, which is called Copilot. It is an enterprise version of Microsoft's own product, leveraging the value of large language model. So we use that mostly for software development, and software that will include the recommendation of this Copilot tool has two different functions, like review the code or the documentation of the code, and the code generation and the test case, etc., etc. I think the best scenario we've been testing can be used in our development development team, is that the review of our complete code, the development code. So when developers submit their code, they usually need a higher experienced developer to review their bugs, etc., etc. So leveraging the Copilot to get a general review and find out the obvious bug is very useful and time consuming. So we've been recommending this one to our development team, and we find them using that. And with the latest version of other generation AI tools, like ChatGPT newest version, as well as the newly released Grok from Elon Musk, I think it has been much mature. Even generating code will be a much let's say mature model, and you can directly use the code, paste in the textbooks, and run it, and give you a surprise, especially with the people without coding experience. So with all those kind of scenarios, what kind of governance model we are going to use for generation AI? And this could be a different topic you were expecting when you are talking about generation AI, because fewer people talk about the governance model and the risk of generation AI. I have to say that the generation AI risk is much higher than we expected. So I can use two examples to talk about that. But first, we need to introduce the concept of illusions. The illusion is a very important part of every generation AI model, the large language model, regardless if GPT is DeepSeek or what other model, open source models as well. So I can tell everybody a story that DeepSeek has been released, and somebody in China has been testing that with the latest version of the SAT test, the university entrance test in China, and specific on the mathematics part. So math test. Do a math test to this generation AI. You copy paste all the questions there and let the generation AI deliver you answer, and you compare with the real answers, the standard answers, because mathematics, you can use standard answers to validate that whether he got it wrong or right. So the testing lasts or altogether it lasts for 1 hour. The entire the entire test exam will have 150 points in total, and it give you 2 hours for a general person to test it, general graduate, high school graduate to go through the test. And DeepSeek got entire question completed within 57 minutes. That's the processing time. And the final mark is actually 142. So 142 of 150 is very impressive. Use this mark, you can get top tier. You can get top tier universities in China. Like 95% of Chinese high school students, graduates, are not able to reach that mark. So this let's say DeepSeek is already covering like 95% of average high school graduates. It's better than them, but it is not perfect. So it still misses 8 marks. So it gets several questions wrong. So that's the truth of generative AI. Even though you are letting them do everything for you, there's possibilities of they getting things wrong. And by the way, when the people are doing testing using this DeepSeek generation AI, the search function was disabled. So it can only use its knowledge for the calculation and the logistic. So 142 are quite impressive because the exam is already public. So if the search function was enabled, it's most likely the answer will be 100 per 150 per 150. Yeah. So that's the text and the logic. But from image perspective, the generation AI of image generation are in different kind of illusions. So I'm using this graphic for an example. We probably, a lot of you already understand that generation AI on image generation has a lot of problems with hand gestures. So when you ask them to specifically working on hand generation, they will deliver you things which which not reasonable. You have 6 fingers, 9 fingers, or the finger was twisted, bended, different type of gestures, which not human-like. That is because at this moment, the latest version of generation AI still do not understand all the gestures of your hand. They do not have the understanding of your bones and how it bend over and what kind of linkage it works between. So that cause when it generates pictures of hands, specifically on hands, or generates a picture of people with hands, it will show you some some pictures which are not human hands. So it's hard for them to process that kind of information. So this kind of illusions prove that generative AI are relatively correct and helpful. They are not all force, all source, or all knowledge understandable. So I think the limitation need to be put into consideration when you are doing some industrial product. This is very important. If you are doing some industrial product, the accuracy and also you have to understand that sometimes it will not deliver the result you want. That is also the reason that J&J, when doing the governance model, J&J has its personal best practice. So we use 2 dimensions to evaluate the generative AI usage. One is the purpose of usage. Another one is the data privacy requirement, because at this moment, we are still engaging, our policy is still engaging with, closed sourced, models like ChatGPT, etc. So you cannot put that locally into your computer, which means you have to provide the information to the commercial service itself, and the information may relate it to privacy data. So when you talk about some, let's say, patient information and disease information, those kind of information like their resume, etc., it's not the best a best way to let the open AI processing the information, because it's been, those information are highly restricted for the company to use it directly, unless you get you get some consent from your customers or the person who hold the privacy information, you should not be sending that to a commercial service, which means expose that to a different source. And the other dimension is the purpose of usage. So depends on the generation AI outcome, we will divide that to like 4 automate decisions, or it could be assistance with decisions, or it is just information fetch information. The last type is definitely low risk, but if you are trying to directly let AI processing things for you without supervision, then currently in J&J it's still high risk. So you can see the risk level estimations is based on those kind of 2 dimensions. And if you have global corporations alongside with you, it's possible that you are going to follow the same kind of directions. And well, it's understandable because if illusion happens, we want the damage control. So the personal data, a little bit of reference here. The personal data will have like public data, personal data type 1, type 2, and type 3 with different information categorizing there. It is just for reference for your better understanding of our governance model. So then we talk about the best practice of generation AI. So this is I think this is something we have been working alongside with business and IT technicals. And then we have been practicing and we have been formalizing our process of how to build a generative AI. A very important thing is that when you try to build something with generation AI, it's very important you first get 8 questions straight. And from the upright, you need to have a product vision. Each product will have a product vision, even regardless is Gen AI or it's a normal software. You need to have a product vision. What this product is going to solve for you. It's what the solution is built for you. And the next is what is the target user of your generative AI. So basically, your product are not commercial product. You cannot say, okay, I will just build a ChatGPT like service to like say my customer or our company. It is for this kind of product vision or product solutions. I would not recommend we start hands on it because you cannot control the result and you do not know how much cost you are going to face when you are really running it. The operational cost will be like unimaginable. And also the third question is that whether you have training data, because like what I just said, a Gen AI, a commercial core Gen AI is already pegged to be an average person, like between a high school graduate and maybe below a doctor, below a physics doctor. So the knowledge level of a Gen AI is usually between this kind of person. But when they talk to your working special area, like your specialties, most likely it's not going to oversee your capacity, which means the things you can done easily may be a challenge thing for Gen AI. So you need to have training data to retrain the Gen AI to make sure it catch up with the information and capable of replacing some of your work. So that training data need to be specially prepared and categorized and processed with the format our Gen AI can understand, and then start the retraining. So what's the input of Gen AI you need to consider? Usually this kind of solutions will be put to a specific task or a scenario, just like the first case I've been introduced today. Well, you need to have the input ready, like the name, the gender or the hospital name, etc., etc. So those input were something which your sales rep or external user send to you, and those input are formatted, so the trained Gen AI will be able to recognize and start working on the output, which is also something you need to regulate, because the output need to be something reasonable and useful, and the more detail you describe the output, well, the more accurate it may get. So the process learning are based on the training, but input output is something that your IT person need to first understand. If you do not have that clear, do not start working with Gen AI. So next, you need to have a validation logic. So like what I said, even with the high school graduation mathematics testing, well, the latest version of Gen AI will not get 100% correct, which means you have room for making mistake. You need to have room for making mistake. And to understand what is mistake or what is not mistake, the definition of mistake, you need to have a validation logic. Not everything was like mathematics. So a lot of tasks with everyday work we have need to have a validation logic on the output of Gen AI, so you can test that and continuously test that to get the benchmark and also your expectation and improve the AI in between. So with the validation logic, then you need to have an understanding of your tolerance level. So what kind of error you can tolerate, or what kind of incorrectness you can tolerate. So let's say if we are building a chatbot for our customer service using Gen AI, then after the training, we may expect this Gen AI to answer 85% of our customers' generic question, right? So when it comes to that 15%, if you can tolerate that 15%, let it go, then so be it. But if you can't tolerate that, you need to have some person in behind to pick up phone anytime if needed. Because after people process with the chatbot and they find the answer not satisfiable, they will pick up the phone. And then you need to have somebody waiting for that call. So tolerance level is very important. You may have a high tolerance level, and then you just abandon or sacrifice the people who got the wrong answer, or you probably have somebody saving in the end. And in the last, we need to have cost and benefit model to build Gen AI. Building a Gen AI is not easy, and it's really costly. If you want to retrain the model, then you have to buy the training data, because the training data in your format need to be transformed into a machine format and fed to the Gen AI. And well, when you train this Gen AI, you will have a lot of electronic or resource cost for this training. And after you go online, you need to have operational cost, because you need to afford server, you need to afford geographic card, or you just well, abandon the ChatGPT service, but they will cost you, and the performance will not be as expected. And so those cost and benefit model need to be built before we start actually hands-on on the Gen AI. So with those 8 questions answered, then you are in the doorway of start building a Gen AI. And what's the process of building a Gen AI? It's very similar to a general productivity of software deployment. So we define the user journey and business case, just like we said, answer the 8 questions. We select the model, we implement, we prepare the training data set. During this time, you need professionals to get involved. And then we need to have some very most important difference between a Gen AI product and a normal product, which is prompt engineering. So you need to refine and fine tuning your prompt to make sure the input and output get a satisfactory level, and make sure it is workable and also expectable. Or you have expectations and the expectation can be met. And in between, you will prepare the training data set, and it will turn to RAG. well, the data engineer will use the training set and make sure those convert it into RAG and put aside with the ChatGPT or Gen AI to make sure when your Gen AI has questions about your industry specific wording or your concept or your product details or your let's say internal training document, they need where to find. They need to go to somewhere which they can find the information. That is called RAG. And you in between, you also need to set the expectation of agent if necessary. An AI agent means well, the Gen AI not only respond you with wording, it is also respond you with actions. Like you talk to Gen AI saying that okay, I need a new sales opportunity to be logged into system, and we have well customer A and we have information B, etc., etc. And with your word there, the agent will help you log that record into the system. That is called an AI agent, and that's unsupervised, and it is not only put out wording for response, it also have actions, and that actions will have consequence a lot of times. So that is the next level of Gen AI. And then we test the model, we test the output, we implement the model, and then we iterate everything again, continuously improve this product. So that's the entire generation AI product well life cycle. So that's the best practice we have, and then we can quickly talk about the outlook of our Gen AI product on the industry level, and then we can start with the questions. First of all, let's say our the industry consultant has been estimate our growth of Gen AI, and I have to say that the forecast is pretty much well along the side. So with the text kind of Gen AI currently is year 2025 is already a final draft. So you can actually write some poems, use the Gen AI. You will find that less illusion will be giving you, and also it's better than what you thought of. And same thing will happen to the documentation, summarize, etc., etc. That's the very first usage of text generation AI, and it is already becoming the final draft. And the code part, I have to say that on the software development, I think that's this Monday, Elon Musk has been introducing his latest version of Gen AI, which is called Grok 3, and well, testers already using that to directly put out codes of a word described game and put the code into a textbook and change it into exe file, and it can be executing correctly, and it's like easy game. But this is already impressive, which means the code generation is already processed to this final draft in 2025. And image as well. So the product design and architecture design already can use the Gen AI, the large language model, to do the final draft in 2025. But the video part is very hard to catch up. I think we are still struggling making reasonable or less illusion videos directly from Gen AI, and beside that, it is costing a large number of resources, which means it will spend a lot of time generating even a very simple short video, and it is not cost effective. So we are still watching. We're still watching whether this can be assisting our productivity. So, but one thing is for sure from Gartner, the expectation is that 1/3 of our integrations with generation AI will be switching to AI agent model. So, which means solution of generation AI, you will find one actually not delivering wordings, but delivering actual outcomes or directly delivering actions. And who knows? And maybe it can be linked with robots, which is also a trending topic in the tech industry recently. So yeah, I think our focus is 2028, and it's very possible that by that time, a lot of a lot of work or solutions will be replaced in the industry. So then we come to the last topic. So will DeepSeek changing a lot in the industry, or is that changing everything? So we all know that during the Chinese Lunar New Year, the U.S. market, especially Nvidia stock market has plummeted because of the new model released, which is called DeepSeek, and this one is using less, let's say, less resources and less training data to get a better result than OpenAI, according to all the tests we have. And I personally has installed that into my machine, but I think this one is changing the industry a lot than we expected at this moment. For example, let's say currently, if you want to have a Gen AI product or solutions, you need to find ChatGPT or other applications for a service. But in the future, considering that you can put that into your own computer and do your personal assistant and try to complete some of your routine tasks based on your input of word or even voice. It's something that making all the generation AI companies crying, I guess, because they are not getting those business because this is open sourced. That's the game changer we have in the industry. And according to our estimation, DeepSeek is using less resource to train the data, which means their cost of training are very, let's say, very limited, and very little operational cost for reasoning, which means when you ask DeepSeek a question, it will spend less resource, less electricity than ChatGPT to answer that question. So the operational cost deduction will be accumulating, and people will be turning to DeepSeek instead of ChatGPT new model. So I think that's something which will terrify or ChatGPT or even the Grok 3. So I think what we have to watch this trend going on, because from finance perspective, what I assume is that DeepSeek is devaluate all the cost or all the, let's say, car built around ChatGPT. So all the investment go to ChatGPT now will be devaluated because DeepSeek use less money and less resource and less operational cost to build a model which similar to ChatGPT o1. That means ChatGPT o1 will not value that, and this is something which I think terrifies Wall Street. So maybe people will ask, well, can I do a DeepSeek local deployment? So it is open sourced, so you can actually find this easily to be deployed if you have a game machine. So I don't know whether our audience have kids or they have their gaming machines to play the large competitive game. And if you have a GPU, a latest version of GPU, you are most likely can most likely put a 90% version of DeepSeek R1 into your own computer using your GPU, and it will become your personal assistant. So if you look into this screenshot, it shows all kind of different type of DeepSeek local deployment and the size. And this size, you can equivalent that into your GPU memory card size. So if you have memory card which can support 20 gigabytes, which is the latest version of 5090, and you can actually put this version into your computer. But if you want to implement the full version of 671 billion parameters version, then you probably need a data center, a small data center, which will cost you like 1.5 million US dollar to build. Depends on your country. So that investment will give you the capability of a ChatGPT similar level of product, and that's something which you need if you want some private data privacy, you want some data governance, or you want some data or output governance because you are working on R&D, for example. So that's something which changing the industry, and the model itself is free. So the cost is only the investment of the hardware, the the training cost, the training set cost, and also the operational cost. A lot of Chinese companies are now connecting with this model, embedded that into their service, and they will usually start with the chatbot service. But I think sooner they will be engaging with much better, much better agent service in their products. So that's all I'm sharing today, and I think it's better that we leave some time to ask questions. Yeah, John.
Thank you very much, Jerry, for running us through these four different components. Certainly for me, I do find it very interesting learning about the different use cases. Many of them are new for myself, as I'm sure they will be for other members of the audience. At this stage, I really just want to remind everyone, please, if you've got any questions, feel free to put them into the chat box and I'll ask them to Jerry on your behalf. Maybe just to, I was going to say kickstart. The first one's kind of come up. So Santosh is asking what some of the kind of key governance challenges are when scaling. So you shared a slide earlier, Jerry, with regards to governance, but also this question is more specific with regards to scaling rather than just initiating, and how might some of these challenges potentially be mitigated?
Yeah, like what I just said. So it's hard to put a validation logic and the accuracy level to the product of solutions with generation AI, because it is practically a black box, and it's very hard for business owners and IT representatives to convince the risk controllers that the output of our Gen AI will be regulated to a certain level, which we're not delivering illusions or incorrect messages there. So you need to build a case against your enterprise governance, saying that, okay, I have mitigations to our solutions to make sure that it is not breaking the controls. Because for a lot of information, especially in life science industry, if we are directly asking Gen AI to evaluate patients' disease or give prescriptions, it's not going to pass the regulation. It's not going to pass that, because nobody trusts Gen AI to the certain level that it can provide correct information, and you cannot evaluate that. So now the best mitigation method is that you put all the output under supervision, which means you have professionals to evaluate the result and correct it if necessary. And you need all the sales rep, the first line Gen AI users, when they hand the the delivery, the output of GenAI to our customer, you need to make sure they examine that before. So that's the mitigation you need to ensure, and you need to build a process around it and carefully start using that. When you talk about scaling, the scaling, which means there will be the number of respond and input will be booming, and in that case, your mitigation controls may not be good enough. You need to build more mitigations in the process, or you need to use small data to prove to your regulators that your solutions are far more than accurate. So in that case, I think it's better for your case to pass. I'm not sure if that answers the question. Yeah.
So I'm assuming Xanthus is fine with that question. So Jyoti's just posed, this is quite a long question, Jerry, so just give me a moment to read out for you. So given that 100% of accuracy really cannot be assumed, especially within healthcare where this is very important, how important is it to develop a regulation around this, either a system or AI ethics and policies within the companies, to make sure that employees also know what is or is not to be done? Are there some companies who are already working with regards to the space of AI ethics?
Yeah, I have to say that on practical speaking, I think the current response from Johnson and Johnson were not really the best practice. We have banned all the commercial service of AI from our company laptop. No, we are not allowing our employees to access the let's say commercial level of open AIs. Generation AIs, but I think there's no perfect solutions at this moment. And education is very important. We need to make sure the privacy data, the sensitive data, will not leak to public side through this Gen AI. I think more importantly, we need to first have replacement and useful replacement inside our company to redirect those requests to our own product, which under control and under regulated. And also, it's important. It's very important that we train our employees to make sure the understanding of illusions. I use multiple illusion examples when I educate our employees to give them examples that this can be ridiculously wrong, and do not hand over that output directly to your customer. You need to examine that first. So several times after they find out mistakes themselves, they will be carefully with the Gen AI output from the commercial service. Yeah.
Great, thank you. And I guess it's one of these sort of things where within AI, similar as blockchain, we tend to see that policy and regulation are lagging, right? The industry's evolving and developing so quick that it's often moving before regulators are able to bring in new regulations. So yeah, can be quite opaque at this current point of time. Tim has kind of highlighted that AI, it's consuming a lot of energy and also a lot of sort of capacity within data centers around the world. Now, he asks a couple of questions. I'm just going to focus on one of these at the moment. Let's just say a lot of organizations might be bringing and introducing AI into the workplace. They might be maybe cutting on some labor, but if organizations are potentially finding AI is not actually meeting the standards that they had assumed when cutting labor, are we potentially going to have a bit of a knowledge gap in certain areas? Is this something that you could either relate to with the experience in Johnson Johnson's or foresee in any other places?
Yeah. So personally, I don't recommend cutting labors using Gen AI. Honestly, I would more recommend replacing those labors because at this moment, I still believe Gen AI and the solutions built around it are most capable of doing the work that people do not want to do. That for example, if I'm going to build some let's say personally, going to build some AI agent which will deliver result not only by text but by actions, then I will first let the AI agent to work with robot to serve the disabled person, because disabled person they may have less complicated requirement to with the robot to build the service around it. So if I'm starting from there, which means that their tolerance level will be higher than a normal people ground, but um, the request of building comprehensive solutions will be limited. So what I suggest is that currently don't treat Gen AI as a threat. It is not going to replace your work in the near future. What it's going to do is re, remove your work's the most unbearable part, the repeat work or the and well less value work in your daily operations, and try to streamline your capability and make your day useful and energetic. So that's something what I'm suggest. And also I think building Gen AI product are very costly. So you cost a lot of training and yeah and training set. You need to build a rack to actually make the solution work. And you will find a lot of solutions are not really let's say cost effective when you come with the evaluation of cost and benefit. So I still think we need a long way to move ahead if we want to do that kind of solutions.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's the main point.
Yeah, so not necessarily job cutting, although at the same time we might see less job creation as some roles are being amalgamated into one,
Yeah.
moving ahead, right? So I think that's the other side of that question. Um, and Nima here has got a question which is asking about the input. I'm going to articulate it in a slightly different way, where, Jerry, a lot of people who are utilizing AI for the first time, the way that we input it isn't always as clear as we might think it is. So
Mhm.
how does Johnson and Johnson's train employees so that they're comfortable and effective with inputting prompts into AI?
Yeah, in our industry, currently the best practice of guiding people through the learning curve of Gen AI is still giving examples, narrow down the scenario. So when you open, I'm not sure how many of you have subscribed the ChatGPT mode. So if you went there, well, in the homepage of ChatGPT, it usually tells you what kind of question you can put into ChatGPT to get a result. So that's examples. And examples will lead people, well, follow the way or develop their own prompt. And the prompt example are very useful. And in J&J, our Gen AI internally are also doing that. So we put some best thing we can do use Gen AI, especially with the RAG. On front page, and we call it prompt store. So actually people can first review the prompt store to find out if something is similar to what they are expecting or what they want to ask, and then re-articulate the question with their own input. So that's something, let's say halfway send it to you, and you just complete it with your own word, and then you iterate that. And that's the first lesson of all the people who use Gen AI, and I strongly recommend you try that. Another thing is that you can directly ask Gen AI how I can describe this. So let the Gen AI to train you, and that's a similar question is that if you do not understand or catch up with the latest trend of the Gen AI, try to ask Gen AI itself. It will search the internet and tell you and summarize to you with plain language. And you can even tell Gen AI to tell you in a well a primary school student method. So they can tell you a very good story, which you can tell your boy to describe Gen AI. So try to leverage the capability of Gen AI itself. Use your imagination, and you will be getting those information quicker than you thought.
Great, thank you. Maybe just a final question here. So it comes back to DeepSeek, and one of the things when DeepSeek came out, a lot of the headlines over here were really commenting on how cheap it was perceived to have been developed. Now, the reality is sometimes costings in different countries are calculated in a different way.
Definitely, yes.
So Duque, is that kind of raising within the China context, was there any potential subsidy or support which helped reduce the costs from DeepSeek?
I would rather think a different way. So um, I don't think Chinese state subsidize that because if it do so, DeepSeek, the founder of DeepSeek will be appearing in the media sooner than we thought. It's going to be in the media long before we realized what DeepSeek is. So I don't think Chinese state is subsidizing that. But let me use a different metaphor to tell you what's the difference between DeepSeek and other Gen AI tool. So considering you are giving birth to a boy, and let's say Elon Musk is giving birth to a boy, and you both of you have a similar age boy, and now you start teaching that, right? So the difference is that Elon Musk spent 100 teacher and doing 100 hours to get your boy to primary school. While you spend 1 hour, spend one teacher to get your child to the level of primary school. The knowledge they have, the both boys have, are the same, but the cost you hire to you hire the tutoring or you spend during the time or the food you fed them are completely different. So what's the difference there? The only result is that your boy has better talent than Musk's boy, and that's the truth. So I think DeepSeek has a better articulation on their root cause on their neural network. Let's say their Gen AI neural network. So they save a lot of effort and energy to do the training, and that's the restriction China had, and you have to think that way. And Musk in the other way. So the recent thing regarding Musk is that they released a new model, and this model is supposed to be better than DeepSeek. It's tested to be better than DeepSeek and also OpenAI. And now the only thing people are challenging Musk is that they spend much more money than OpenAI and DeepSeek to train the similar level model. It's not that revolutionary better than DeepSeek and OpenAI, but it spent more and more, much more resource than we had. I think that's something which we really don't want to see happen because it is really not environment friendly, to be honest.
No, that's great, thank you. I, I guess as a closing remark on that, sometimes it's also how we interpret state within the question, right? So it might not necessarily have had overt state backing in that sense, but could have also created geopolitical issues. But within the China context, AI is part of the 5-year plan. It's part of the 2040 strategy for China as a nation. So there would be different forms of support and bursaries and grants available to all forms of companies who are there. So maybe it could be free office space. It could be grants to support the recruitment of labour and things like that. So maybe these are still direct mechanisms for subsidising, but yeah, they would not state in the traditional sense, right, in terms of state-backed.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, thank you everyone for joining today. I'm just going to wrap up because I recognize we are approaching the hour mark. So thank you for everyone who's joined. I hope that you have found this session to be as insightful for you as it has been for me. I want to reiterate my, of course, special thanks to Jerry for contributing his time to share his knowledge and experience with us. If you want to learn more about future events like these, then please do follow us either on LinkedIn, on Twitter, and at this particular moment as well, I'm just going to seize an opportunity to share screen with our next upcoming events. So on the 2nd of April, we're going to have our own internal professor, Zahir Khan, who's going to be talking about Trump's presidency. Obviously, he's just come in last month, and around about the beginning of April, he'll be at the end of his first quarter in his new presidency. So we'll be discussing about some of the observations, some of the new policies, and what does that mean for businesses and how they are navigating this, and is it impacting their strategy. So this is going to be our topic for our next one. If you would like to register for that, please do feel free to scan the QR code as you see on screen, but we will otherwise be circulating information about this upcoming event through social media platforms in the coming weeks. Thank you again for everyone who has shared your time with us, and we'll look forward to welcoming you again in the near term.
Thank you, Jay.
I'll ask you to hold in the moment as well, Jerry, if that's okay.
Thank you.